In my latest video I had a look at a video from the channel Vicar Aggressive Truth in Plain Sight, and it was about a US Navy radar person who was without any doubt fake. Today I will have a look on another video from the same channel, and this time it's a US Navy submarine radio man. Oh dear. First of all, I want to thank you all, members, subscribers, you who watches my video, and all of you who have donated money via PayPal, Super Chats, Super Thanks. Together we have raised a lot of money to Ukraine. More about that in the description. Let's start the video. This is a quite small channel, but about 4 months ago he published some rubbish he called Flatten the Curve, the documentary. And I think this is material from that so-called documentary. I did find this channel from Banjo, Flat Earth Banjo, who is republishing his garbage as truth. So let's start watching this so-called submariner.
I will be providing my in-depth experience of U.S. Navy submarines and how they prove we do not live on a globe Earth. However, due to the nature of my job and the security clearance that I hold, I wish to remain anonymous.
A great start. The same rubbish as on the video about the so-called US Navy radar operational security clearance, so I can't reveal my true identity. Pure bullshit.
I've worked for the U.S. Department of the Navy as a submarine quality assurance specialist for the last 5 years. My job is to ensure that each submarine is built properly, safely, and to the engineer's plan. I have an intimate knowledge of every aspect of each submarine being built in the shipyard I work in.
Oh, we have one more very expert. I'm certain that no one on a shipyard who makes submarines is expert on every system on those complex ships.
Now that you've heard a little bit of my background, let me explain how I arrived at the crazy notion that the Earth is visibly and observably flat.
Yes, I agree. That's crazy.
I have always questioned the reality around me since I was little. I never followed anything mainstream, and I was never interested in what the news had to say.
And who is surprised? You did get all your information from crappy YouTube videos, strange groups on Facebook, and so on.
As I got older, I started looking into more and more things out of my own curiosity. 9/11, school shootings. I eventually started researching the moon landing because it just never set well with me. And it didn't take long for me to completely unravel that for the hoax that it is. After that, I was starting to realize that we had been lied to on so many levels. What else could there possibly be? Then I saw a video about the flat Earth pop up on my YouTube recommendations. first, even with my awakened mind, I thought this was absolutely ridiculous. I decided that I'd look into it simply to disprove it and move on. It should be easy, right?
And he fall into every rabbit hole he found. Yes, it's simple to prove that the Earth is not a flat pizza. But if you're a science denier, reality denier, I can understand that you don't believe in it. If you believe fools on internet that you know nothing about without any documented knowledge, you think those fools are more credible than scientists and so on. So I'm not surprised.
That was over 6 years ago, and I still can't disprove the flat Earth. In fact, the more I research it, the more it reveals. This leads me into my submarine experience. Looking back on everything I had accomplished while on active duty with eyes to sea, has only served to solidify my stance that we live on a flat and motionless plane. I served on board of a United States 688I fast attack nuclear submarine, and I can personally attest that we never constantly angled down during our submarine deployments. One of our longest transits went from the Gulf of Oman around the southern tip of Africa and back to Connecticut. We were underwater for almost 3 months straight. My job on board as a radioman meant that I spent a lot of time both in the radio room and in the control room. The control room is where they navigate and drive the submarine. I never once, in my 5 years active duty, heard the officer of the deck or the diving officer give the order to consistently change the angle of the submarine to compensate for the curvature of the Earth. The primary task of the diving officer and the helms and plainsman is to maintain the submarine as level as possible while in transit. If the Earth had any measurable curvature, I am certain we would not have been able to make this incredibly long transit without accounting for it.
And there he proved that he know nothing about submarines. This is quite similar to the heights of airplane above the ground. The reference to determine how deep the submarine is the surface of the sea, and one way to determine the depth is the hydrostatic pressure. The deeper the submarine dives, the hydrostatic pressure increases. The hydrodynamic maneuvering of a submarine is made by several things. One is the ballast tanks. So you balance the submarine on a depth with pumping in or out water in the ballast tanks. And you also have diving planes to move it down or upwards in the water. But the reference is always the surface, as a plane's reference is the ground. So they balance the submarines against the surface of the sea, so they don't have to compensate for the curvature. This is the same stupidity as those who try to debunk the globe using airplanes.
Here is another flat Earth proof that I never noticed while I was on active duty thanks to years of indoctrination. Periscope observations. When the submarine is at periscope depth and the observer is looking for ships on the horizon, they will start to see masts at about 8 to 9 miles, depending on atmospheric occlusion and sea state. The hull of the ships won't be visible until about 5 miles, depending on atmospheric occlusion and sea state. At 9 miles away, the target should be 26 feet behind the curve, but this isn't what's observed.
And he's describing what you would see on a globe. If we say that the periscope is on a height of 9 feet and it's 9 miles to the target, 18.9 feet would be hidden if we don't calculate for a refraction. If we have a standard refraction, it would be 13.6 feet hidden. Oh dear.
My final flat Earth point on submarines is with regard to the AN/WSN TAC-7 ring laser gyro that is used on board of U.S. Navy submarines. A typical gyroscope, like the ones used on board of an aircraft, is a device used for measuring or maintaining orientation and angular velocity. It is either a spinning wheel or disc with a counterweight in which the axis of rotation is free to assume any orientation by itself. When rotating, the orientation of this axis is unaffected by tilting or rotation of the mounting, according to the conservation of angular momentum. However, a ring laser gyro doesn't have any established weight. They use light as a point of reference. It spins up a disc that shoots out lasers, and it has a digital encoder that deciphers where the laser strikes inside of the gimbal system. No make-believe gravity required.
Laser gyroscope is not used to measure gravity. Are you this stupid? And have a look at Bob 15 degrees per hour Nodell's proof of a globe, of a rotating globe. Okay, that was the complete video, but now I will go back to the best proof that this is stolen valor. He is no submariner. He don't know the most basic things about submarines. Let's listen to one of his statements once again.
My job on board as a radioman.
So he worked at the submarine as a radioman, as he states. If I was a flat earther and tried to fool someone that submarines proves the flat earth, I would use the radio systems on the submarine as an example. On the submarine he states that he served on, they are capable of receiving radio signals over the globe on very long distances on the other side of the globe. These submarines are using VLF radio, very low frequencies, and these radio waves they used on submarine for several reasons. One is it can penetrate seawater to 10 to 40 meters depth, and some submarines even use extremely low frequency ELF that can penetrate even further down in the sea. And the reason that they can reach to the other side of the globe is not because it's flat, it's because the signals is bouncing against the ionosphere. If he served on a submarine, I'm sure that he would try to use those radio systems as some kind of proofs for a flat earth. He didn't, and I think this is a great proof that this is stolen valors. He's a liar. But you have to lie to Flurf. I'm at land today, so I was able to make this quick video. A fun fact about this video is that I showed this video for an officer working on a submarine, so I'm quite correct in my statements about submarines. I want to thank you all helping me, helping Ukraine, because now we have reached 4,500 euros sent to Ukraine. If you want to help me help Ukraine, you find information in the description of this video. I will make one more video today. I'm not sure when I will publish it. Have a nice day all. See you soon. Bye.